League of Legends is entering a brand new era for players looking to climb. Riot's new update changed the rules of SoloQ, and the future of climbing is gonna work a whole lot differently than it has in the past. SoloQ is full of chaos, and if you don't adapt, you will lose. Now, the good news is there are a lot of new ways to win that weren't really possible before. So in this video, I'll cover exactly what Riot has changed, how it affects your SoloQ games, and how we can use these changes to actually climb in League. So what has exactly changed in SoloQ? Now, last week I had a chat with Coach Curtis, who plays on the Oceanic Super Server, and he was getting back into SoloQ because he wanted to climb to 850 LP to record a video. And during that chat, he told me something interesting. SoloQ felt different, and he said that the queue timers were shorter after the recent patch, exactly what Riot intended, but the game quality was way worse. He was getting Emerald players in Challenger level games, and I thought, OCE is a small server, so I thought maybe it's just an OCE thing. But then I started playing more SoloQ myself to prepare for the new season, and suddenly everything that Curtis just described happened to me in EU West as well. So out of nowhere, I was literally getting autofilled non-stop, top lane, jungle, support, and I personally had like a system in which that I would never get autofilled, but it just completely stopped working. I've gotten filled more in the last week than I've gotten in the past year. It's like that crazy. On top of that, I went on a 9-game loss streak, and I literally cannot remember the last time that happened. And mind you, I was playing my main champs, my best champions, Syndra and Ahri. So I reviewed my games, getting curious on what exactly happened. And what I found was that the games themselves had changed. There was way more chaos. People were making like random mistakes. Lanes were getting stomped insanely hard. Autofills were way more common. And I was getting matched with players from wildly different ranks. I played a game in 700 LP and I had a Diamond 1 Yasuo in my game. And of course, this guy was just running it in certain points of the game. But we can't even blame him, because the rank disparity is so high that he just didn't know what to do at which point in the game. So at first I thought maybe it's just random, maybe it's just end of season chaos. But the deeper I dug, the more that it was clear this wasn't just end of season chaos. Something genuinely changed in SoloQ. So to double check myself, I actually messaged AJ, another coach in our coaching program. He's high challenger in NA. And I asked him, hey man, so how has your SoloQ been feeling recently? Because mine feels like a complete mess. So without hesitation, he instantly said, I just played a game in Grandmaster and had 2 diamond players in my team. It's never happened to me before. He said the same thing. Chaos everywhere, autofills everywhere, and the only way that he wins right now is if he plays a perfect game. 10 CS per minute, 0 deaths, full focus. So now all 3 of us, Curtis, me, AJ, in 3 different regions, we're describing the exact same pattern. Lower game quality, more volatility, more rank disparity, more autofills, and way more chaos. So there's 2 things you can do with that data. You either cry and be a victim, or you can adapt and change the way that you play the game. And I knew that I had to change the way that I play SoloQ because I got sick and tired of losing 9 games in a row. My old playstyle just didn't work in this environment anymore. So after reviewing my own games, talking with the other coaches, and changing my mindset, I finally came to a few clear conclusions about how SoloQ works right now and what you need to do if you want to win in this new version of the game. So one of the clear conclusions is that there is massive rank disparity in a specific game. So certain players are simply better than other players, and we can use that to our advantage by having good quality win condition assessment. In this game, I'm playing Ahri. I'm overall doing pretty alright, and the game is just an absolute shitfest. My Twitch started inting, and my Akshan is completely dominating the shit out of the enemy on Bessa. What we do here in this game to win the game is we just fight with Akshan, right? That's just it. And what happens is that my team is just constantly, this Briar is just going in, dude. Taking the most disgusting fights in 2025. So what we need to do about this win con assessment, right, is if we know that the way to win this game is by playing with Akshan, is by communicating this win condition assessment towards our team. So I literally tell Briar, just stop engaging and play with Akshan. And guess what we do for the rest of this game? We fight with the Akshan, so we win the fights. That's just how it goes. And literally, this is all that happens, right? My Briar now starts playing with the Akshan as well. We just win every fight because Akshan is just completely overpowered in SoloQ, right? So we just win every fight, and a few minutes later, we just win the game because we played with Akshan. That's it. Win condition assessment and communicate that towards your teammates to put them in the right position. and you'll just start winning way more games. The next clear conclusion is that there's just a whole lot more random fights and chaos in your solo, and we can use that to our advantage. So, same game. My Twitch just died. He's absolutely inting. And what happens is that I'm just laying it up for his victory. You know, I'm doing pretty well in a pretty hard matchup. I'm getting through here. And what happens is that my Twitch eventually moves mid, and my thought process was, oh, that's actually not a bad play. He's trying to get me ahead by ganking me on mid lane. What a genius play by this Twitch. I see the angle, so I go in onto the Victor. He takes my wave. Now, shit like that sucks, you know? I just waste my ult for no reason. He just took my wave, and chaos of SoloQ just erupts. Now, there's a lot of things you can do. You can either get pissed, run it down like Twitch, and just take the loss, or you can adapt and embrace reality. In this case, I just recognize, all right, if he's going to take my wave, I'm just going to go move bot versus the misfortune. That's just embracing reality, guys. Shit like this will happen, and a lot more, because people will lose their mind because there's more chaos and the rank disparity is a lot higher. Twitch is just a worse player. I go towards bot lane, and I also say no to these bad plays on top side, right? I've got no R. I want to play around my reference points as a champion, and I really need to get myself as strong as possible so that eventually when a good fight breaks out, I can have impact in the game. If I stayed mid there and went for the fight, that's a really quick way to instantly lose the game and become useless because you're just not becoming strong enough to eventually win the game. This leads to me just farming it up for a moment on bot here. I don't care what happens on the rest of the game. I need my ult. I need to get strong. So what happens eventually that there's a fight where I now have my ult up and I'm actually strong enough to participate in this fight. And my Akshan, who is actually doing well, remember, the win condition is moving around. So this is a fight that I can now actually take and potentially win. So I'm finally happy to take the fight and play the game. We find a decent angle onto the Victor. We get a nice low kill. And because my Akshan is in the area, we're in a position where we can get ourselves a couple of resets. And now we're just fully back into the game because I said no to the bad plays before. I kept myself strong and I embraced the reality of SoloQ. I embraced the chaos instead of succumbing to it. And I know this can be a very frustrating experience for a lot of players, but this is what you sign up for, guys. And if you can deal better with this than the enemies, because that's all you need to do, right? This also happens in the enemy team. As long as you just deal better with this than the enemy players, you will climb over a longer period of time because your mental resilience is better. So this next example is a very important one. It's going to be a little bit of a longer one because I'm going to discuss multiple concepts in this one. This is a game that I played after my 9-game loss streak. And I want to give you guys a little bit of context, okay? This is the state of the game. It looks absolutely over, like completely over. Top's getting destroyed. Jungle's getting destroyed. We have a Fiddlesticks AD carry. And my champion doesn't do particularly well into the enemy team comp, especially because we have multiple AP sources. So Ahri isn't particularly good. To give you guys a little bit of context about this game, okay? I am playing this game, and my top laner, PP Lungstrom, is an AD carry Draven main, 54 LP on Jack's autofill top lane, versus a Singed player who is a little bit higher LP and doing, much better on the champ. So no shit that he gets capped. Keep in mind, right, I'm the highest LP in this game, and I just lost 9 games in a row, okay? So I'm playing in the trenches here in this game. It's fine, happens to the best of us. We also have Fiddleberg, who is outfilled Fiddlesticks bot lane. He's a Fiddlesticks mid and top player who got outfilled on bot. And if you look at the enemy team, they have fully on-roll players, like every single role. Now, this game is up to me to carry, right? Riot Match made this game so that I could carry it. But it's pretty hard given the positions that I'm in with my team. My top lane is getting smacked. The rest of my team is getting smacked. It's just brutally hard game. Now, how do we eventually win a game like this? So, like I mentioned, there's a massive rank disparity gap on top. That means that this guy is significantly worse than the Singed, and it's showing in the impact in the game. And that's also why we're struggling so unbelievably hard. But on mid lane, right, I dropped a lot of LP, and I'm playing against the 500 LP player on Veigar, which means that I could get a massive lead in the game, in the lane, and I am doing quite well myself. I'm strong. So one of the key ways that you carry a game like this is by just becoming as strong as humanly possible yourself, and then you need to leverage a few key fundamentals. And one of these key fundamentals, I like to call it a tempo trap. So a tempo trap is a position where you surprise the enemies by being in a spot where they don't really expect you to be, because you're not playing classic League of Legends. And you have to do something special in games like these to win them or get back. You have to induce a little bit of chaos. You can't play standard League of Legends, you'll automatically lose. So in this position, right, I've gotten strong, right? This only works if you get strong yourself. If you're not strong, if I'm not on 4 items, you will never be able to do this. I do not push out the extra wave. I know the enemies have no vision in the top side, and I know that Baron's spawning. So what I do is I sit in this bush, and I pray to God that someone is going to walk into me so we can potentially trap them, kill them, and force a mistake. I'm basically forcing a mistake. What happens is that my team now catches the wave. He doesn't expect me to be here, and I get a big chunk onto the Talon. He's forced to jump out, Singed compensates, and we now get a fantastic pick onto the Singed. And this only works because I'm strong enough to pose a little bit of threat onto the enemies here. This is a massive game changer given our position. We just bought ourselves a full minute. We might even be able to force onto the Baron right here so we can get something going into the game. A tempo trap, guys, works really well. The next thing you have to understand in these type of games is that they are never lost. You have worse players on your team. The rank disparity is really high, but it means that the enemy also has some players that don't really know what they're doing. So not a single game is lost because there might just be throws or something going on. And you gotta just understand that they will always happen. We're in a desperate situation. The enemies, they just got the soul. And what happens is that it's a 4v4. And the enemies are simply inting right here by going for this inhibitor. And then look at what Vigar is doing, right? The inhibitor is playable because Leona was down tempo. But look at what this Vigar is doing. He's completely inting. And that means that I can now get this beautiful Q at the back end. We get a kill, we get a reset. And the enemies are just giving the game towards us. All they need to do is play with the Talon, wait until he's up, take Baron, siege down mid, and we can't win. But because the rank disparity is so high and the chaos in the game is so high, people will just automatically make bad plays. And you need to leverage that. And you need to understand that not a single game is lost. So stick it through. The enemies will make mistakes. They will get cocky. And you can leverage that by being the better player. So we got another example right here, right? Where the enemies are now taking Baron. They got Soul. They will win the game. Okay? They will win the game if they just ARAM 5-man mid. But Vigar ints again because he's too deep. He gets caught up by the Leona ult. And we have a fantastic ult play onto the Vigar, allowing us to create a 5v4 fight. Now, this is just completely illegal from the Vigar, right? He just made these mistakes. And this allows us to now get a bit of a domino effect. Because a single death timer in the late game is just so large that we can leverage this pick into now an inhibitor, giving us an angle back into the game, creating a number advantage on this Elder fight. We eventually win the Elder fight. I think Vigar ints again. Look at what this Vigar just did, by the way. He completely 1v9 lost the game by just making these mistakes. He lost focus or something like that. But this always happens, guys, in these type of games. You just need to be ready for it. Do not give up. Do not FF. And we eventually get the Elder. And we just win the game at the back end. It's unbelievable. So now this is probably the most important part of this video. There's a specific strategy that we can use to win the games, knowing that there's a large skill gap between the players. And that's the strategy that I like to call kill the inter. Okay, so we know that Vigar throughout this entire game has been running it. So what we do in this position is that I get the bot turret, I push out the next wave, and I see that Kindred's around. And I know that Vigar is going to be answering this wave on bot. So knowing that Vigar is going to be answering this instead of Singed, right? I tell my Kindred, yo, Kindred, Vigar is going to come and he's going to run it. I know for a fact he's going to run it because I see the tendencies of this player. So I ping assistance on my Kindred and thank God that she listens because this is a bit of wink-on assessment, right? And because of this play, I could have reset. I'm quite rich, right? Because of this play, look what happens. Vigar now gets himself caught. We land a beautiful charm. And because of us landing this beautiful charm, we now get into a position where we get the tier 2 turret because we killed the inter, knowing that he wouldn't respect. We now get so much money that we can get our second completed item. Kill the inter is one of the best strategies in the current chaotic meta of SoloQ, and it will win you games. So as a final thing, I really want to mention, guys, that your level of play and your skill level is still going to be the deciding factor in you winning or losing the games. But it's rather how do you deal with everything that's now happening in the game. This is a game that I actually played on my Coach Mysterias main account here. And what we find is that we take a fantastic pick onto the Shen. We have a beautiful ult. And eventually the Silas dies as well because he made a mistake. And because of that, we are able to now do Baron. Autopilot, guys, will lose you a game. Okay? And this is the Yasuo that I was talking about, right? And what happened is that we just start the Baron because Silas is dead and it's their jungler. And my Yasuo dies on mid. And because of him dying on mid, right, this Baron play eventually doesn't work out. So what is the problem here, right? It's because that Yasuo autopilots, he thinks he can go for the wave, he can't, and therefore he dies, and eventually we get wiped on the Baron. We can blame Yasuo for this one, and he absolutely ran it the fuck down. That's true. But in the end, it was my mistake. Why? Because I should communicate this to him. This is my responsibility. I should tell him, Yasuo, you shouldn't go there. And I lost focus, right? So I wasn't directing him. I wasn't commanding him, which led to him getting caught. This is my responsibility. If I communicated properly, then I would have been happy to say, all right, it's fine, not my bad. But I didn't communicate. So at the least I should try that, especially, now I didn't know that during the game, knowing that this player is going to be a little bit worse than the rest of the players in this game, he needs a little bit of extra help to put him in the right direction. And I didn't understand at this point. So I was playing on a lower intensity than I should have, which led to me eventually, at the end, lose the game, which absolutely sucks. But that's just the reality of SoloQ, guys. So the truth is, guys, SoloQ is completely different and you need to adapt to win games. But for you to be able to adapt, you need to have a baseline understanding of what the fundamentals of League are and how you can use them to climb. So for that, check out this video right here.